What is going on, everyone? I'm not going to hold you for the next 1.5 minutes. I'm ready. Hopefully, you're ready to get things kicked off. What's going on? Frizzy, Rich in the chat. Salmon, what's going on, guys? Motivational. How are we all doing today? We've got some big news. It just feels like there's consistent big news happening in the markets. And so, of course, I'm here to bring it all to you guys today in a live stream format. Live streams today and the next 27 days in a row. You guys know the drill. Now, I want to say again, before we continue, please go ahead and join the Discord. We are growing a very strong community over there. Over 600, I believe. Almost 600 members, rather. Which is getting quite amazing, to be honest with you guys. And I'm over here hunched over right now because I am extremely sore. For those who know, I went to the gym the last 2 days. I'm getting back into it again. I haven't been for God knows how long. I was been off and on, but pretty much over 12 months now, and I hit it pretty hard, and suffice to say, my shoulders don't work anymore. So I'm going to do my best to not groan like I have been all day. You guys don't want to hear me whinge, right? But hopefully everyone else is having a fantastic evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome. GM619, what's going on? Tony, Hillary, hello. And got the sound going, man. I told you guys we were going to have problems on the first stream, but after that, things are going to get easier. But I will say, I'm going to leave some room here for some more mishaps because I'm going to upgrade the software. I want to make it look a little bit more nice, especially because we're doing these more frequently now, right? And by the way, after the next 30 days, I'm going to be doing these like at least twice a week, probably 3 times a week. So a few more people, roll in the chat here, and we will begin the news for today. So guys, before we do, show your support, hit the like button. I know some of you are already. Appreciate that. Kyron H-Bar guy. I am. Hey, they should sponsor me, honestly. They never will, but that'd be fun, right? Shoulder and trap workouts burn like hell. Yeah, man. The interesting thing is I didn't even train shoulders or traps, but they are hurting the most, which is probably a bad sign, right? But push-pull is what I did. Yeah. Getting back into the gym. Nakamoto Games, we can talk about these things in a minute here, Dream. I want to get into the news, which we might start because I get most people watch this after the stream is done. So to save them, for their brevity's sake, we will maybe kick things off here. Strap yourselves in, guys, because we have a Bitcoin fund going ahead over in the Japanese markets. And don't scoff at the Japanese markets, please. This is a massive area. Like one of I find that the Japanese tend to innovate a lot of these, technological things. A lot of these Asian countries do before the West. I feel like the West we think we're there first, but a lot of the time it's like, oh shit, China was doing that 3-4 years ago, whatever it might have been, right? So, things are moving sideways. Bitcoin's slightly up from yesterday, day before. Of course, it's pumped about $600. So not too much in the lens of Bitcoin, of course. The rest of the market looks like it's predominantly up right now, at least moving sideways. Nothing crazy, nothing new. We'll see how things progresses. But let's touch on the news. So it's to do with, I'm going to get this wrong. I tried my hardest to pronounce this right the first 700 times I practiced it. Nomura. We're going to go with Nomura, right? I know it's definitely wrong. It doesn't sound right off the tongue. But who is Nomura? All right? These guys are the basis of today's news. Nomura is a global finance service group who service the needs of individuals, institutions, corporations, or corporates and governments through 3 business prongs: retail, investment management, and wholesale. So global markets and investment banking, right? They're a huge company. I didn't know who they were until more recently. They're actually integrated with Hedera H-Bar. So shout out to the gentleman who said I'm a H-Bar fan because we're talking about a bit of H-Bar today. But these guys have 27,000 employees in 30 countries. They've been operating for 90 damn years. They've got 110 branches in Japan. I think they're like one of the largest institutional sort of figures in Japan, right? Financial services, at least. And they have $357 billion in total AUM. This is old, though. I did the maths on it. It's more like over 400 billion now. So they're huge, right? Huge. This is, March 2022. I think I got my data I did before from early this year. So they've definitely grown, right? They're a big company, do many different things, right? And so what's happened? Well, Nomura has a subsidiary called Laser Digital, right? And Laser Digital unveiled its Bitcoin adoption fund targeting institutional investors. Now, you see what's happening here. We're kind of like leapfrogging these things. We have like the really big things, what's happening over in the States here, the larger ETFs that's been working on for quite a while now, right? When those funds are unlocked, it's going to be like, lambs to the slaughter for the price of Bitcoin. It's just going to absolutely skyrocket. But these are the ones that are going to help path the way, essentially, to that, is what I believe. Here's the official report. The fund, which provides a seamless way for institutional investors to access the digital asset class, will be the first in a range of digital adoption investment solutions that Laser Digital Asset Management will bring to the market. So there is more to come. Essentially, what we're saying here, there is more to come. This is the first of many more. Now, it is only a Bitcoin. It's only exposing to Bitcoin longs. Okay, so it's not the whole sort of kit and caboodle, but it is just one aspect of that, okay? So again, we're paving the way here, right? Now, they obviously aren't the first to establish a Bitcoin fund. There are many out there as well. We'll touch on what they might be in a second here, but it's again, a step in the right direction, okay? So I'm launching the fund. Sebastian, can't pronounce it, is it Sebastian? Not going to pronounce the last name, head of Laser Digital Management, commented, technology is a key driver of global economic growth and is transforming a large part of the economy from analog to digital. And this is what's happening here, right? You look at XDC, for example, with the digital trade documents being hopefully passed in the House of whatever it's called, right? Over in the UK. That is very close to being passed, which pretty much means that trade documents can now be digitized, which, believe it or not, pen and paper, like, what's the old saying, paper and whatever the old, feathers they used to use in the olden days was. That's still going on, right? And so they're launching the digital trade version of that, and that's a whole different story. But that's what he's pretty much saying here, right? Bitcoin is one of the enablers of this You guys can't even see my screen, can you? We got no Fs in the chat, people. God damn. Here I am thinking we've all got it. By the way, for those who are joining me for the first time, we put Fs in the chat when I do this. When I don't flick my screen over, I want you guys to spam it, because then I know, I see it in the corner of my eye, I've screwed up. I've chosen my words carefully, right? But yeah, please let me know in future, because you guys couldn't have seen anything I've just pretty much shown. I probably have to go over that all over again now, but suffice to say, I was reading this report from the official announcement itself. We'll go back to who these guys are. God, I hate when I do this, right? As I said, 27,000 employees, so on and so forth. You guys get the idea. I mean, I'm a visual learner, so I understand those who like to be learning visually. This is the reports I was pulling up before when I was talking my talk, right? Okay, so you guys get the idea, all right? So the thing is, the guys leading the charge, a subsidiary over here, right? Laser Digital, the subsidiary of Nomura, the head is essentially recognizing the fact that we are switching now from all of these financial services being this legacy system or pen and paper, feather and paper, moving out to digitalizing everything essentially, right? And obviously Bitcoin is at the forefront of this, whether you like it or not, right? So, where have we heard this name before? Right? Where have we heard this name before? I'll admit, I didn't pick up on it. I had a team member tell me about this. Nomura is a governing council member on HBAR since 2019. So these guys are like one of the largest, if not the largest financial institution over in Japan, right? Especially a massive player in the Asian market. And here they are, swept right under my damn nose as a governing council member on HBAR. This is what I'm saying. Like, some of these companies, none of us really know what they actually do, right? We see them partner with HBAR. Like, I'm sure all of us just like glossed over that. But until you like look into it, then your eyes open. You're like, holy shit, because we come from a world where we're only fed the names that we need to know, need to know basis, right? All the telecommunication companies, all the, anything we can interact with, all this sort of stuff, or in different countries, they just go under the rug, right? So, nevertheless, some big news, and the fact that they're partnering with HBAR leads me to believe, hey, maybe they could be integrating HBAR into some of the things they're doing, such as this. Back on April of this year, JPX invests in Nomura's Boostry blockchain venture. So the operator of the Tokyo Stock Exchange, JPX, is taking a 5% stake in Boostry, a blockchain infrastructure company founded by Nomura and Nomura Research Institute, right? In which SBI has a minority interest. Who remembers the name SBI, right? XDC's flaring in everyone's heads right now. A year ago, JPX revealed it was exploring blockchain green bonds using Boostry's IBET for Fin security token issuance platform, which down here is built on the enterprise blockchain solution Quorum, right? Now, there are other players in this space from the look of it, which is quite interesting. It kind of can pull back into XDC network here if you want to pull strings, but some of you guys might hate the idea of, oh, you know, what are we clawing at here? Like, we're finding these little almost subliminal messaging, right? These references to possible partnerships. It's like, yes, it makes sense because this is all brewing under the surface, right? We see SBI, one of SBI's subsidiaries, SBI VC Trade, is partnered with XDC Network, which also is partnered with XDC, is partnered with R3 Corda, and SBI has a like whole entire version of R3 Corda. They pretty much bought out because they own like the largest shareholder in actually R3 Corda, which is a consortium network in Japan. It's all linked. It's all friggin' linked, and it's so freaky to look at when we start pulling this up. And we're pulling this up on a daily basis, guys. Daily basis. So if you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. Because all of this we're looking at, all these little freaky things we're checking out here, that might seem insignificant to the untrained eye. When we pull it out, it kind of makes more sense. But, you know, it's going to lead somewhere in the future. You know, this is kind of like when they say the writing's on the walls. This is the writing that is being drawn right now. And we're just sitting back like kids in a classroom looking at the teacher like, okay, here's what's happening. And then the kids that walk in the class have been daydreaming, look up and go, holy shit. And then we're already there, you know what I'm saying? So that's the best analogy I can use in that case. But nevertheless, guys, I mean, for all you H-bar haters, I don't know, something's not right there. Because you got to give me more of a reason to hate H-bar than the tokenomics might be bad, which they're not, right? Anyway, it's not a H-bar video. But some pretty big stuff, okay? Again, step in the right direction, paving the way here. Also, guys, we have some other news today. I thought I'd add this in because it's quite fun. Now, we are going to touch on even more news, but that's for tomorrow regarding Quant. Because some really interesting connections I want to bring up here that I guarantee most of you haven't seen before. So we also have, again, this is kind of a bit of fun here. And when I say fun, it's sad. It's not fun at all, but it is in a way to see this man's face being behind bars. Well, the story isn't as amazing and fun, right? Bankman-Fried's parents got $16.8 million in stolen funds. Actually, it's more than that, right? So Sam Bankman-Fried's parents reportedly received $16.8 million in FTX stolen customer funds, according to a new lawsuit from FTX. So FTX obviously trying to clean up these loose ends. There's a report down here that shows the actual filing itself. They speak about how much was given to them, some crazy information like annual salaries, them trying to bump up the annual salaries, so on and so forth. It's quite shocking, to be honest with you, but in the way of SBF, not as much anymore, right? I mean, look, behind the curtain. The parents of the crypto exchange founder received an additional $16.4 million worth of property in the Bahamas. So they received some of his property in the Bahamas, plus they, along the way, would have received about $16.8 million in, we now know, as stolen customer funds. Man, it's crazy, right? They're a pretty crappy family, if you ask me. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is today's news. What do you all think about it? Now, whether you have an opinion or not, that's okay. That's okay. You know, this news isn't 10 on the Richter scale news. It's not like, the BlackRock ETF or whatever it might be has been approved. None of that sort of stuff, not that level, but again, this is sort of the things that we're seeing. Now, again, this isn't the first. If I come back over here, where are we? Scroll down. So, where are we? The crypto community is eagerly waiting for the first US authorization of a Bitcoin exchange-traded fund. While that might encourage consumer adoption in the US, exchange-traded products have already been available elsewhere, right? So pretty understandable. However, institutions have also been able to get exposure to Bitcoin without directly holding crypto, which obviously will be the first step in this case. Several large banks, including Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan, partnered with crypto specialist managers, NYDIG and Galaxy Digital. So NYDIG has several funds with more than $750 million in assets under management, so on and so forth, right? So last year, BlackRock launched a Bitcoin investment trust. Yeah, big stuff. But you guys know this already, right? This isn't new breaking news. What I will say here is, so this is a part of Laser Digital, or at least Nomura. The third arm will be a digital asset trading firm, if you will. It's no coincidence that it bought Elysium, a post-trade solution for FX and digital asset. So yeah, they're fully tackling the market. They're definitely showing their presence in the market here, and it's only just beginning. As I said before, it's one of many that Laser Digital are starting. Okay, so big stuff on the horizon. Looking forward to it. How do you guys feel? So Crypto Taka says HBAR is extremely centralized. Do you want to explain me how it's centralized? I mean, I don't understand. I mean, I see that question. I see that being put up all the time. I want to talk more about that. Please remind me. By the way, Reddit's a good source for all this sort of stuff. I want to actually find... I've got to be careful what I open, yeah, because I'm streaming. I'm really... never open up CoinGecko. Hopefully this has a chart here. Let me read some more questions while I analyze what I'm doing here. The main hate I see in HBAR is the centralization, but you get that with other companies too. Look, this is it. This is what I wanted to point out. Like, they say it's centralized, and I'm not pointing you out here, Trucker, sorry, Crypto Trucker. I'm not pointing you out and pointing fingers at you, bro. This is something I want to talk about more, right? And as 619 said, it's what we see a lot. A lot of people talk about it. I just really hope that we have some sort of digestible chart here. Oh, of course, I didn't think we would, right? We can see the I forget what it's actually called. I'll have a look while I read some comments here. Watch the BitBoy Crypto interview with the founder. What does Lehman himself say that it's centralized? I mean, it's centralized because it's because of the nodes, the governing council itself. But you think about it like this, man. This is what I always tell people. Would you rather... Okay, because most cryptocurrency projects, their governance is literally just who holds the most tokens. A token, let's just hypothetically say, is a vote, right? Or 1,000 tokens is one vote. You're centralizing it regardless, okay? Just by nature. You're going to have people that are in the project early. You're going to have people that just fluke it. You're going to have people that just have whales that want to hold the token. And you don't know if these are like 17-year-olds living in their mum's house still. So in that case, you want to put your favorite project in the hands of a group of unknown people and also possibly even teenagers. Or would you rather know it's backed by these people? And sometimes like HBAR is saying this is the be-all and end-all. They're saying it's one step in the chain. They're going to be decentralizing it further and further and further. I mean, hell, when they shard the network, depending on what type of shard they do, like how they shard it, I'm guessing that they're going to be doing like the typical the network sharding where they distribute the nodes, and therefore you have to have more nodes on each shard to secure it, right? This is a really good topic to talk about. I think it's a very important topic here because HBAR is one of the most popular projects, and it's a project that I always talk about. So I feel like I probably should be touching on this a little bit here, but more so on the news. How do you guys feel about that? Hey, I'm a horrible multitasker too, so you're gonna have to forgive me for not being efficient rather. I'm trying to find the report, the meeting minutes. I don't want the economics paper. Distribution schedule. Alright, we'll have a look at this in a sec. Let's read some more comments here. Hey, Boom, what's going on, brother? Been a while. All been going good with me, man. Hopefully you too. Thanks for asking. Define centralized. I mean, look, centralization, decentralization is multifaceted, right? And I always talk about this. I had a video I was going to plan a while ago on this because a lot of people don't understand, right? It's just not how many nodes are distributed across a network. Because if that was the case, a lot of these networks are decentralized. Bitcoin is very decentralized, as you guys know. The fallacy here is that Bitcoin is not decentralized. It's very centralized. Why? Because multifaceted. You talk about one plane is nodes distributed across the world by geography. That's one plane. The second plane that we have to talk about in this case, let me make myself big. Remember, F in the chat if I forget to switch it back. The other plane here is consensus. If the way that the network runs and ensures that it's running, it's live, right? It's not producing false information, is that it goes through a consensus, and different networks do different things. It might be proof of stake, proof of work, and then variations, proof of useful work, or proof of. Anyway, I'm running into a mind block here. There's like 20 different bloody proof of stake variations, right? And I know Algorand's got one. They coined their own. I actually think Algorand's got one of the best consensus mechanisms, I believe, for a proof of stake network. We have VeChain has their own as well, but VeChain is highly centralized. Anyway, you guys have to do. So that itself is one plane, because if the consensus is centralized, like in Bitcoin's case, it's got the bottom layer, nodes, geography is decentralized, then what the hell's the point in all those damn nodes? Those nodes just store the ledger. They just store the freaking ledger, man. That's it, right? So the most important part, in my opinion, is the consensus. In Bitcoin, you have 3 entities that control the network. Tell me how that's decentralized, please. I'll argue anyone on this all day. And then there was a third plane, and I've kind of forgotten what that is. And by the way, this is my own interpretation of it. I forget what it is now, but I remember when I thought of it, I was like, that makes so much sense. I feel like it's got something to do with the what type of machine needs to run it. For example, like Ethereum, right? Ethereum pretty much, and I could be wrong, I'm just assuming what I thought back then. This was like 10, 12 months ago. Ethereum basically runs predominantly, and this is most proof of stake networks, predominantly on servers. So that's another whole plane in itself. Anyway, you guys get the idea, right? But you won't hear people talk about that because they either choose to ignore it, or they think if they go against the narrative that they're going to get screwed over, or they just don't know that at all. So in regards to the H-bar, maybe we talk about this, eh? Every chain is somewhat centralized. This is it. What, you know, we can use the what's it called, the Nakamoto what's it called? There's some way that someone created this the Nakamoto coefficient. Okay, that's extremely complicated to figure. I think there's a whole bunch of maths involved with that. I think there is no real way to tell decentralization. There is a spectrum, of course. I think a network that has like, again, I like Algorand's consensus. Essentially, if you have proof of stake, I haven't entertained the thought of proof of work. A proof of stake network that when the nodes grow by geography, when there's like 10,000 nodes, it's gone from 100 nodes to 10,000 nodes, the consensus group, which is proof of stake, the consensus group typically stays the same size. So if it's 10 people and then they find one block producer out of those 10 people randomly, that's very centralized, especially if the network grows, because there's a high probability that those 10 nodes are all malicious. But if that group node, the consensus group itself, the ones that are randomly chosen to agree on the next block and then choose a block producer that actually creates the block, if that grows with the size of the network, then that is good. And I'm pretty sure Algorand, last time I checked, does that. So if the network grows from 100 people, and there's 10 validators, essentially, not validators, validating committee, and the network grows to 10,000, well, in ratio, that should also grow. And if it doesn't, then it's actually worse than a proof of work network, or at least worse than Bitcoin. Because you can just spin up more malicious nodes and get a higher chance of screwing the network over. Anyway, guys, I'm sorry if that's gotten too technical for a lot of you. I get it, right? It's an interesting thought exercise, but so H-bar, okay. See, I don't want to use this old economics paper because I know it's definitely changed. Release schedule. I swear that my body has like, oh my god, what is this? Treasury Management Report. That's the series of words I was looking for. I was like, what the hell is it called? No, this might be old even. I want a chart. Anyway, we can just run off this, I guess. It's fine. You guys can see that all right? So let's pretend... we shouldn't do this, but let's pretend for argument's sake. So what do you consider centralized? Because if you're telling me, Kyron, and this is the argument I've heard before in the comment section, the Hedera Treasury's got... it is a high amount. Let's just pretend again it is 55%. I'm sorry, but that's got nothing to do with centralization. That's the Treasury. The Treasury, and you should most definitely read the breakdown of what they constitute as the Treasury, right? I'm just taking you guys. This is what I do, right? Anyway, it's in there somewhere. I probably missed it. Treasury. You'd go through there and you'd just make sure, okay, what constitutes a Treasury? Is there some sort of release? Like we look at reserve rights, for example. Reserve rights have like it is probably 55% of the tokens in the hands of the team for Treasury purposes. But the unlock, when they want to use any tokens, it's coded into the smart contract that it's a 4-week release, and it puts a notification on chain of what that is released for, so no doubt there is people tracking out there, and morally, they'll let the community know. Okay? And so, it's the same sort of thing in this case. The Hedera Treasury is controlled, from what I can remember. And I like saying that because it kind of removes me from... because unless I've looked at it with, right now, I'm not going to say for certain. From what I remember, it has to go through a process with the governing council, right? And because the governing council hire the board of directors. So first and foremost, the governing council is first. Whatever happens to the network goes to the governing council. People can propose things through HIPs, Hedera Improvement Proposals, just like any network, but it has to get approved by the governing council. So if any of those tokens were to be used improperly, you got the reputation on the line for every single one of those governing council members, and you have the reputation of the network on the line as well, whether they release tokens. And again, those releasing of the tokens only affect you and I if they're dumped on the market. If they're over-the-counter traded for a specific service, if they're OTC traded, let's just say they bought out Swelds, for example, which they did for the hash graph, things like that, that's all OTC. That's all OTC, which means it doesn't affect the price of the token itself. Also, we see other networks out there like Veracity, for example. They've come out here and said, we have all these tokens we're holding right now. I think for them it's also 50%, but that is strategically going to be used to buy companies. So it's like, well, if they dump them on the market to get the cash, then that makes sense. But, they're not going to do that because they could say, hey, we're going to dump $1 billion worth of tokens. Well, let's just say in this case, it's $100 million worth of tokens. For them to get $100 million of tokens out, they're going to have to account for, essentially slippage, right? And then they have retail investors that are going to shit the bed, and then so it's going to cause a bit of a capitulation event. There's so many factors that go into this, guys. It's you can see, so anyway, back to the centralization point. So don't look at the Hedera Treasury. Don't look at any treasury, but you should definitely read up what constitutes a treasury, and is there any sort of criteria that has to be passed before any sort of the funds get relieved, and what are they using those funds for? Grants. What are grants? They're going to give the HBAR tokens to a third party. Third party gets the tokens. What is the third party going to do? Hold to dump. Make money. Simple. So that's one of the things you want to look at. You want to look at, are they going to be acquiring anything? You know what I mean? So again, look into it. Developer community funds, ecosystem reserve, coin purchase agreements. So the SAFs themselves, again, this is old. So the SAFs, it's changed. I think RCUs might constitute a SAFT, as far as I remember. Oh, here we go. Oh, maybe I was wrong. Or maybe that is a part of that. I'm not too sure. I could be wrong. Or maybe RCUs are a part of the advisors, vendors, founders, stuff. Anyway, nevertheless, let's just factor that in as third parties. Investors and RCUs. So what's that? Let's just say 30%. 30% is in control of many different entities, the team and advisors included. Come on now. Less than a third, well, roughly, let's just say a third of the project, okay? And again, this could be off. Is that really a bad thing? Is that really a bad thing? I mean, you think about it like this. These guys are in it for the long term. If they dump on their project, these guys are dealing with very big players. Anyway, you guys know the drill. I mean, don't listen to... Critically think, please. Critically think. It's easy to group all investors in there and say, all these investors, what if they all dump? I heard that comment. I responded to a comment. I said, mate, to make it a coordinated attack across many accredited investors, across many people who know how to invest, who have reputations themselves, or who are associated with large companies who they can't afford to, screw their reputation, it's impossible. Anyway, hopefully that makes my case. I'm happy for constructive criticism, please, but by all means, Hedera isn't centralized. You could argue centralized in governance, but I'd rather it be like this than traditional ways. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. Let's open the floor up to some questions. Yeah, so Crypto Trucker, that's why Cardano Stake model is very good. I agree. Ouroboros is great. Yes, you're right. 100% Trucker. Hello from Warsaw. Hello, my friend. Welcome. Must be very cold up there, hey? SEC has a BS case against Binance. Yeah, they're getting desperate, right? I think, one of the head honchos are stepping down from Binance US. Tony, is that right? Best hardware wallet. If I wasn't wearing bright blue pants right now, I would stand up and grab my wallet. I just got we will be partnering with Tangem. And they sent me through a wallet, and I am using Tangem Wallet now. It's just like credit cards. You get 3 credit cards. It's so awesome, right? Extremely secure, safe. You lose one, you have the next. Pardon me, so on and so forth. So, Tangem. I can hook you guys up with a discount, but that's still in the works. When dot bottom? My God, when will dot bottom? That's a good question. Well, as long as it keeps going lower, it's going to give me more of a chance. Okay, so it's a little bit up. I know it was down to $4. I was telling you guys $4.50 is going to be a good time to buy. I was telling you guys $5 was a good time to buy DOT. I mean, freaky, right? It actually just went under $4. Whew, props to anyone that purchased that. These projects, like DOT going to $40 is going to be quite easy. I live from Manchester. What's going on, brother? We got everyone from all over the world here. It's beautiful. It's great. And guys, if you are joining me fresh off the bat, haven't seen the start of the live stream, first of all, welcome. And second of all, please smash the like button. It helps get the stream out there. You guys know the drill. The next 27 days, we are doing every single day. I don't care if it's a day off. I don't care like today. If I can barely lift my arm up from the gym, I'm in here. If I get sick, you guys are going to hear me talk like this the whole time. I don't care. It's going to happen. When ICP bottom? That's a good question. If I knew the answer to when a project would bottom, I guarantee you right now, I'd be screaming right now. I'd be screaming at everyone saying, buy this fucking good. So, because there's no repercussions. Because, you mean, what are you going to do? Sue me for that? I'm taking a lot of DOT and Glimmer, but considering buying more. Also, Moonriver. You're in a great ecosystem, Sean. 100%, man. 100% a great ecosystem. Hello from a plane. No way you're flying right now, 619. If you are, where are you flying to and where are you flying from, brother? Appreciate the streams. Anytime. Well, anytime. Between 7 and 8 p.m. AEST. I love doing these, man. I look forward to these. I don't care how busy I am. I think doing these every single day is just going to absolutely... it's going to absolutely make me fall in love with the process. So I think I'm going to want to do these at least twice a week, probably 3 or 4 times a week. I'm not going to guarantee you guys anything, but definitely I think twice a week is going to be the minimum here after the next month. But we're going to be dropping news bombs soon. We got some videos planned. Well, we're going to be planning, instead of dropping the news on lives, we have a process being built out. You guys are going to get daily news, because news, let's face it, news is like the most important thing, right? Because if you're up to date on the news, you're ahead of the curve. And we got a team of about 4 or 5 people right now curating the news from different sources and different altcoins. And we are going to be bringing this out every single day. So you guys don't have to lift a single... Like, what I want from my community is what I would want from a creator, right? 2 videos a day. 1 touching on the news relating to my favorite projects, 30 plus projects. And the second thing is, how do I freaking get rich with this damn industry? Because let's face the facts, fellas and ladies. We've only got really 1 more bull run to go before we see this massive blow off top and then a massive sort of capitulation event. I believe, anyway. We definitely will see something happen in 2029, 2030, but will it be as powerful and as extreme? I mean, we saw how lackluster the last bull run was in terms of a blow off top. Bitcoin at 100K, Bitcoin at 100K, 69K comes along, we're like, whatever that is, 31K off, or 21K off, and, God, my maths is not right. And yeah, so, crazy, right? Crazy. This is what I say, do the opposite of what people at the top say. DYOR. Couldn't say that enough. Yeah. I will try to be on more often, Miller Day. Yeah, brother, you do your thing, man. You do your thing first. Live life first. You can watch these later on, you know, when you're chilling in bed. But if you're, like, I'll be bringing out next week, we'll be bringing out content tailored to the US market because we've got Tokenizer coming on board. So, yeah, we'll probably, if you're from the US, it'll be maybe a little bit better for you. I don't know what you're getting grumpy at, Salmon. Yeah, man, no worries. Anzac with the exit strategy. Look, the thing with exit strategy videos is, like, I'm getting to the point right now where like, all my videos take hours and hours and hours and hours to produce, like they do, because it's more than just, like, getting the doc together. I have OCD, which doesn't help with the getting the lines straight and stuff. But I try to make sure that I verify my information, and so they take a while. But those sort of videos are a lot quicker to produce because I have the template basically in place. So I basically just want to, like, pump them out for, like, all these projects. But for those who don't know, I've got a website coming online hopefully in the next few weeks here, and in the next few months we'll hopefully have a full complete exit strategies on all these projects, price predictions on all these projects, the whole works. You guys don't have to lift the finger. Again, the way I like to think of it is, what would I want if I was, you know, not in the position I currently am in? What would I like to see to save me time? What's the fund? Toxic. So I'm guessing you just joined recently, brother. So you haven't seen the start of the live stream. Nomura's subsidiary, Laser Digital. So they released a fund, one of many funds. If we can cop up the news over here. It'll be the first in a range of digital adoption investment solutions that Laser Digital bring to market, right? So there's more to come. And if you don't know who Nomura is, again, pronouncing that name wrong, massive company over in the Asian markets, mainly Japan, right? One of the largest financial institutions, if not the largest financial institution. So it's a subsidiary of that. And they have over 400 billion of AUM, assets under management. So they're nothing to scoff at by any stretch of the imagination. Nothing compared to BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, of course, but nevertheless, they're quite big. Must go find friends. Hope to jump here next time. Hey, how many of us have? Raise your hand. I mean, if you've lost a couple of friends because of crypto, or unfortunately maybe family too, or lost anything because of crypto, relationships in general. I know when I started diving into crypto, a lot suffered. My relationship at the time suffered. Actually, it was pretty much the fall of a relationship I was in at the time. A lot of other things as well. You know, you get sucked in the rabbit hole, but I think it's all for the better. I think ultimately it's like this is going to be a very short-lived thing. And so if we can take advantage of it now, then man, we can get into a relationship every single night if we want to. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's a very childish way to look at it, but you guys know what I'm saying, right? Yeah, 619, yeah. It's not fun, but I think it's not a good thing to obviously lose any relationship of any kind, unless obviously it's a negative relationship. But I think if you're going to lose it to something, lose it to crypto, right? I lost quite a few grand because of crypto. And I'm not going to ask anyone to put their hand up, because I guarantee you every single person in this chat will be sticking their hand up. I think we've all lost a little bit of money in this market. But the main thing is, just like any good trader does, risk to reward on every single trade we do. And because we're not doing scalp trading, i.e. trading within the minutes, the hours, maybe even sub days, we're not swing trading, we're not trading, well, we kind of maybe falls on the swing trading a little bit. We're not trading like, day to a month. We are investors, all right? Think of yourself as Warren Buffett. And so what we're trying to do here is invest for the long term. Invest for the long term, yeah? When I talk, yeah, people roll their eyes when we talk crypto. That's why I actually had a very bad. I had this preconceived notion that crypto was this. How many of us thought of this, by the way? Because I guarantee a lot of us have too. This preconceived notion, like before we got into crypto, it was this digital money where you couldn't touch. Once you put the money in, it's stuck up there, and it's like people getting hacked all the time. And there's this Dogecoin, and it's just like Bitcoin. Everyone's talking about Bitcoin. What is it really? Like, what's the point of it? And it's full of hackers, scammers, and people use it for DRUGS and all this sort of stuff. But and when we get into it, it's like down this rabbit hole. Like, it's a lot more than that. I answered a question last night. Someone asked me, Kyron, my friends and family, they basically roll their eyes, like you said, when I bring up crypto. Like, what would you say to get them on board? It's like, let them do their thing. Like, that's one thing I made a mistake of when I spoke about last night. Like I said, I got my dad into this, and he's down a couple $1,000s. He was very, very hesitant, and I was consistently saying to him, I was very, what's the word I'm looking for here? I just continued to basically push and push and push until he finally caved, and he's like, I'll put some money in. And he put some money in, and it's, let's just suffice to say it's quite a lot down right now. And there's no point in doing that, because those sort of people, they're going to put their money in things, and you don't want to have that on your conscience, right? You don't, now I feel like liable because I maybe told my friend to put their last savings in there. They're down 15, 20K, or I told my family, like in my case, my dad, $2,000, he's down, and all this sort of stuff weighs on your conscience. And also, you will lose friendships and family over that too. So just leave them. Let them do their thing. Like, don't even talk to about crypto about it. I know it's hard. I know you're sitting at the Christmas table, like, with your knife and fork, like, I want to talk about crypto. I get like that too. God damn, my birthday cake was a big B for Bitcoin. Right? So, just no conversations about crypto, fellas and ladies. Keep it to ourselves. Keep it within the community. By the way, if you haven't joined the community, it's free to join Discord down below, please. Now, everyone, I'm in a mood to talk, but we aren't going to be doing our usual AMA after this on Discord. Let me say it for the record, because I have a meeting in 15 minutes that I can't miss. So I will have to go in about 5 minutes. So do we have any more questions here relating to tonight's news? Again, I've got some really big news. You guys, same time, 7 p.m. AEST. I don't know what time it is elsewhere. Literally 45 minutes prior to the current time. Tomorrow, every single day, next 27 days. And we're going to be touching on quant news. Some really big quant news relating to the Bank of International Settlements. Not the typical news I've spoken about 100 times. Okay, some more recent and behind the curtain news that you're only going to get it in one place, and that's right here. So any more questions, fellas, ladies, do we have for myself before I say good night? Hi from Wellington. Welcome. We've got a good mix of people in here. I love to see it. Spreading the word of crypto. Buy crypto, you plebs. This is not financial advice. Rich says, I love throwing my money away. That's why I'm in crypto. That's why we all got into it, Rich. We just got money trees. Not about tonight, but how long do you think we'll have to DCA until it's not worth it to be DCAing anymore? That's a good question. Never a bad time to stop. What am I trying to say here? It's never a good time to stop dollar cost averaging. That's the short answer to that. No Discord AMA after this. The reason being is because I have a very important call. If I miss, I'm still charged for it. So I literally cannot miss it. It was the only time I could get in. So I have to take the call. Basically, it's in 15 minutes. Quant is in a good buy zone. Yeah, man. I got in at just over $90, which is good recently. Greetings from... I can't even pronounce that. Sorry, Nubby. Is it Namibia? Welcome. I've never heard of the country before. How about you look into the macro environment in the next couple of days? Well, we have quant news for the most part. Unless something else breaks in the meantime, quant news will most definitely be tomorrow. And again, if anything else happens, like some sort of event like tonight's news, I will most definitely touch on that as well. If I overload these videos too much, they're going to get like, everyone's going to be like, whoa, I want to like leave some breathing room. But again, we've got some in the next, 2 weeks to a month, we're going to be doing daily news videos because as I said, the most important thing people to understand when they're investing is consistent, up-to-date news every day of the last 24 hours news. And on the other side of it, how to make money in crypto essentially. So you're getting the best of both worlds. My alarm's about to go off, and if you guys have ever had an iPhone alarm before, you know I'm about to jump in my seat. So I'll turn that off. Also lost money because of my son's advice, Glenn. Hey, yell at him in the chat, hey? Yell at him in the chat. I got a feeling he'll see it. All right, fellas, ladies. Is the world flat? Let's end on the world flat. Is the world flat? Yes. The world is flat. No, it's fucking not. Please, anyone says the world is flat, I'll tell you what. I'll stick them in a hot air balloon and I'll send them up. All right, guys. Thanks so much. You're all legends for being here, taking time out of your very busy schedules to make it, ask questions, interact with the community. Again, please, I'm going to continue to damn sure this because it's going to get quite good for you guys. Some really good free content very soon. Join the Discord. Links down below, also in the pinned chat. I look forward to seeing you all very, very soon. Have a very good evening.